The men's soccer team had a chance at home to punch its ticket to the NCAA tournament. We shoot or pass some hot takes about the opening two games for the women's basketball team, and all of us explain what we are thankful for. It's Bobcat Breakdown, and it starts right now. Hello and welcome to Bobcat Breakdown. I'm your host, Joe Lagrippo, alongside MJ Baird and Jonathan Banks. How are we doing tonight, boys?
Doing great, Joe. I'm happy to step behind off the scene onto the desk now to battle MJ. First time on this year. Ready to Bobcat take down you.
Okay, we'll see. I got my two highlighters here, Joe, so hope I won't need these too much today, because if I'm going to need these, it's going to be a lot of X's all over whatever Jonathan's talking about.
Oh, that was a good one. All right, let's get to it.
All right, guys, let's start off tonight's show with the men's soccer team. They went 8-1-1 in conference play. They were awarded the number 2 seed, played to a 3-3 thriller against Marist in the MAC semifinals before winning an 8-7 in a 10-round penalty shootout. Found themselves in the MAC championship game, but fell 1-0 to number 5 Ryder. MJ, did the Bobcats just run out of gas towards the end?
I don't think they could have been farther from running out of gas, Jonathan. I mean, a 10-round penalty shootout, that's like, you're a big soccer guy. How many times have you seen that happen time?
Not even once, I think, when I played.
Right,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
Right. So for a 10-round shootout to punch your ticket to the conference championship game, you're on the complete opposite end of things. You're on the highest high you can be on. You're not out of gas.
And the argument is Ryder played the extra game because Quinnipiac had a bye, so if anyone had a chance, it was Ryder. But just a stat here, no MAC final had a winner by more than 2 goals since 1995.
Okay.
So every single game is close. It's a defensive battle. It's a close game. Ryder's 3-1 win over Quinnipiac in 2016. That was the last MAC final that was separated by more than 1 goal. So it was a defensive battle. Yeah, Ryder's defense was strong. They held Eamon Whalen in check, which is what you could argue that they were out of gas because they struggled for offensive chances really until their two chances at the end. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't that they were out of gas. It's that Ryder defended really well. They hadn't given up a goal in 5 straight games, and they showed that.
Yeah, I think, too, like, out of gas implies like worn out kind of thing, and I certainly don't think they were worn out. I mean, I was talking to Kyle Lavasser after the game, and my immediate reaction was, you know, they really only had like 1, maybe 2 solid scoring chances. But after going back and watching the tape, I think that number was a little higher. It was maybe 4 or 5. So they were getting these chances. They just didn't get the bounces, or at least that's what Eric DaCosta said after the game. Some of the bounces that they may have gotten throughout the year, you know, that last chance at the end of regulation, Eamon Whalen right at the goal post there, it takes a tip off the defender in out of play. Maybe in the regular season that goes in. So out of gas, no, but certainly, you know, didn't get all the bounces that they could.
Right, and it's postseason soccer, which I was on the call for this game on MAC TV, and I was talking about that. In postseason soccer, it's just one chance that all you need. Ryder took that chance well, but I mean, it's really just give or take here, and Quinnipiac just didn't find the back of the net. They weren't out of gas. They just didn't find the back of the net.
Agreed.
Jonathan, Ryder went 6-4 in conference play. They lost 2-1 to Quinnipiac back in October, but it seems in the playoffs they had a bit of a fire lit underneath them. In postseason play, they scored 5 goals, and they did not surrender a single goal against. What did Ryder do better than Quinnipiac to earn the MAC championship?
Simply put, Joe, they scored the goal. And that's what matters. It's a game that you score the goal. I can dive into a little bit. So Quinnipiac plays a 4-1-4-1 formation, and that's Dejan Duric, the freshman, led the team in minutes. He plays right in front of those 2 center backs. And Rashawn Daly, who played forward his junior year, this year plays center mid. He moves forward to link up with Eamon Whalen. So Quinnipiac essentially has 2 guys further up the field. So that leaves one in the middle, which was Romain Danilou to start the game. Sometimes Oriak Villa. Another time it's Romain Danilou who plays in front of that center backs. And Ryder played a triangle with 3 in the middle. So they had that 3-on-2 battle, which is kind of why they dominated, especially they were pressing higher towards the end of the first half, which gave them that edge, but they got the goal. That's what matters. Pablo De Castro got his 8th goal of the season. It was a good goal. So that's kind of what I think. They got the goal. That's the difference.
Coming into this show, I said to myself, what is Jonathan Banks going to say to me for this question? And I knew he's going to go on some soccer tangent with 4-1, 3-1, 5-2, 1-2, whatever you just said. Formations, triangles, all that. So I was going to simple it, simplify it down for our viewers. But you kind of touched on that too. They finished their chance. It was a good goal. Jared Mazzola was close. He was on the far side post, and he even got like his fingers on it. But it was a good goal. You don't expect him to stop that per se. So simple answer. What did Ryder do better, Joe? They finished their chances. And I think that's really all you can say.
Obviously, with the season coming to an end, some seniors have played their last game in the blue and gold. MJ, who will the Bobcats miss the most?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, 8 seniors on this team, it's kind of like you could really go a couple different routes here.
Say 4 or 5 of them got legitimate playing time, too.
Right, especially in the MAC tournament.
Yeah.
The one I'm going to go with the most, though, Jonathan, is Matthew Taylor, midfielder that kind of, to me, resembles this role that James Doig used to play on this team. Now, he may not be the same vocal leader that Doig was. Doig was like the center of this team in the midfield there. But Taylor, his contributions at least, have been almost equivalent in my eyes. He played every game every year. He missed 2 games across 4 years, started nearly all of them, 19 starts just this year alone. And when Paulo Suarez went down this year in the midfield, Matthew Taylor was there to pick up his slack. And that kind of offensive midfield, center attacking midi position is kind of where Taylor fit into the equation, at least in my eyes. And I think losing a valuable position like that on the soccer field can you can see the benefits really easily. So I think him to step into that role that Doig filled was very important. And now for him to be leaving this team, I think that could be avoided.
Yeah, and I'm not going to refute that point because Taylor is a very important player. I mean, I like his skill set. He's good on the ball. He's positionally aware. But I like Rashawn Daly more, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I think Quinnipiac and the MAC, they don't have a player like him.
They
I
don't.
mean, the
That's
way
why
he
he's the best player on
exactly.
the team. That is why he's the
so
best player on the team.
So then why isn't he the senior they're going to miss the most? I mean,
I'll get to that, but I'll let you go
Quinnipiac,
first.
they don't have a player that can link up with Eamon Whalen, who was tied for 8th on the NCAA Division I goal-scoring charts like Daly was. I mean, think about it. Paulo Suarez is an important player. Daly was playing in that center midfield role. Paulo Suarez could play where Matthew Taylor played. So could Jordan Bennett, who filled in there. Evan Hughes started on the right. He can play there. Even Bruno Aguilon got some minutes. And in soccer, the easiest position to recruit is an outside midfielder and outside back because center midfielders can play in that position. Matthew Taylor is a great player, but he's definitely replaceable. And I'm not saying outside in for me in soccer, I'm not a statistics guy, but Matthew Taylor didn't have a point since September 26th.
Yeah, but you're not a statistics guy, so it doesn't matter.
Right. Well, it still matters for something. Daly scored 4 goals in the last 4 games of the regular season and then put it on in the MAC tournament.
Yeah, he was as hot as he could be towards the end of the year. What I would say, though, the reason I picked Taylor over Rashawn Daly is this. Eamon Whalen's coming back for his senior year. No, I don't expect him to put up the 13 goals and 4 assists for 30 points that he did this year because, in my opinion, Daly was a big reason he got those kind of numbers.
I would agree.
Offensively speaking, Whalen's going to be the guy next year, so I think that takes a little pressure off losing Daly.
Right, but who's going to get him the ball? If Daly had 6 assists and Matthew Taylor was 3rd on the team with 3 assists behind Whalen, so, I mean, Romain Danilou is a class player. He'll get him the ball, but other than that, it's just both players are a huge miss.
I think it's probably got to be Paulo Suarez.
Hopefully he stays healthy.
Right.
Well, no matter what, they're going to miss some seniors. Let's go from the soccer pitch to the rugby field. The women's rugby team handled Notre Dame College of Ohio 46-5 in the quarterfinals. Quinnipiac now heads to the semis against Harvard, who defeated the Bobcats twice in the regular season. Jonathan, do those regular season losses matter now?
John, to be honest with you, I don't think they matter. I think this is a young, inexperienced team that lost to Harvard in their first ever NIRA game. Then they played them the 5th game. They lost by 3. This game's going to be a battle, too. I mean, we talked about the MAC playoffs in soccer are a battle. Rugby playoffs are a battle, too. Every time you play in the playoffs, it's a battle. And I'm a firm believer it's hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. I mean, Quinnipiac, for them, they just got to play defense. They haven't scored more than 22 points in a loss this year. They scored 22 against Penn State in the Dartmouth loss, 19 against Harvard, 21 in the most recent. And in their wins, they registered 41, 33, 85, and 46 points. So I don't think it really matters that they lost twice against Harvard because they've been playing better as the season went on.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, I say technically no, these losses don't matter because when you go into a game, it doesn't matter what you did against the team earlier in the year. But yes, it does matter, and it's the mental side of it that matters to me. And it matters in a good way. So, if you look at the first time these 2 teams played, like you said, it was Quinnipiac's and Harvard's first game of the year.
So many new freshmen.
So many new freshmen coming off a season where you lose players like Alona Marr, Flora Poole, Taylor Schuessler. The list kind of goes on with that huge senior class from last year. Your first game back, obviously, you're going to have some bumps. And as you can see, Quinnipiac went on to win that one 32-19. So then you look at the second time these 2 played. It was game 5 of the season for Quinnipiac. It was a 3-point game. It was also in Cambridge. So Quinnipiac loses by 3 on the road. It's a pretty decent result. Specifically, they're leading this game, and they give up 24 unanswered goals. You're the one who mentioned defense, and I completely agree. Offense is not this team's issue right now. It's defense. Or I shouldn't even say right now. I should have said earlier in the year. Because I think when they allow 5 points against Notre Dame College, and those 5 points coming in the last 2 minutes of the game.
It was over already,
It was over. So those are really garbage time points. So like you said, I don't think it matters, but mentally it matters, so I'm going to go with it does matter. That's confusing, I know, sorry.
Yeah, but I just think it's important for Emily Roscoff, too. She didn't know how to play with any of the freshmen that first game. Now she's back, knows how to play without Alona Marr, so it'll be interesting.
All right, Joe?
The men's hockey team is 7-2 overall, but 2-2 in conference play. This can be directly related to their special teams play. MJ, which needs more improvement, power play or penalty kill?
Yeah, Joe, I'm going to go a little more specific than just power play or penalty kill. I'm going to go power play and specifically the first unit. So that first unit consists of Chase Prisky, Brogan Rafferty, Brandon Fortunato, Odin Tufto, and Wyatt Bongiovanni. Now, you're probably going to look at me like, what are you saying?
Because it's the same exact thing I wrote about the first unit. Keep
Interesting. This is the unit that has put up the most power play points, in specific, Chase Prisky. So you're going to ask, like, why would you say this team or this unit needs the most improvement? Well, I mentioned this the other day after the game. Chase Prisky, he has his office on the bottom left face-off circle on every power play. But recently, in like the past 2 or 3 games, he's really been getting shut down from that position. And I think it's because he's on the top of the scouting report for every team they're playing. The guy has an absolute rocket.
As he should be, though.
Right, as he should be. He has a rocket. He's scored all these goals this year, and teams are starting to realize we need to not let this guy shoot on the power play. So the challenge for that unit now is, how can we make adjustments? How can we get different shots for different people in different locations? So it's Odin Tufto in the middle, or it's Brogan Rafferty from the top of the umbrella. That's what kind of I think needs to be the most important adjustment. Chase Prisky mentioned it after the game, how his team was good at adapting on the fly. So yes, that's important, but it's really got to be something you got to start.
No, and
practice.
I totally agree with you, because look at the RPI game, for example. They got 2 power play goals. Tufto got one from like outside the slot in the center of the ice there. Chase Prisky got one, but they were 2 for 8.
Correct.
I mean, it's kind of masking some of their problems. They're tied with Union in power play goals throughout the whole conference, but they're 5th in power play percentage, which means the conversion in which they score the power play goals. Everyone in the arena knows Chase Prisky's getting the puck, like you said.
On the power play, right.
On the power play.
Yeah.
He loves that low circle like you're talking about towards the left. I mean, it makes sense, but I mean, I can't argue with you because I totally agree.
Right.
Prisky, maybe someone like Tufto needs to step up. Brogan Rafferty, like you said, when they play that umbrella. Someone needs to step up and someone needs to start scoring goals on this power play to give Prisky kind of that, to alleviate that stress off of him, because
good word, alleviate.
Yeah, and he takes a lot of pride in his work. He's one of the most humble guys you'll meet, but he's well aware that it's on his back.
For sure.
The Bobcats checked in at number 14 this week and 13 last week in the USCHO polls. They have yet to crack the top 10. Banks, what's their ceiling?
It's an interesting question, but from what I've seen right now, I think that this is kind of the spot that they are. So I'm gonna say this is their ceiling. I'm gonna say this
13 is their ceiling?
I think it's their ceiling.
Okay.
And one, I'm gonna tell you, because ECAC hockey right now is so even. 8 of the 12 teams are separated by 3 points. So that's important to note. 2, this team, just based on a sample this season, they've been very inconsistent in conference play. It's a small sample size, but they split both of their weekends. They lost 5-1 on both ends, which is the last game. I don't expect that to happen again because they do have Colgate this coming Sunday. I'd be surprised if they lost by 4 goals to Colgate. But, I mean, just looking at it, how the trend is, like, if they keep splitting, then they're not going to get any higher than 13, and their schedule doesn't get any easier when they have a double weekend with Maine of Hockey East, then Princeton, then this weekend Cornell and Colgate.
My question to you is, what does league points have to do with their USCHO standing?
Because if you're not, like, technically you're right, league points don't matter, but if you're losing games against conference foes, then you're not going to go anywhere. Like, if they're beating the teams that they're supposed to beat, but they're losing to the better teams in conference play. Like, look at this weekend.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, they beat RPI, who's, they're a better team than RPI,
Right.
but they lost to Union.
Sure.
So they're not going to go anywhere if they keep beating it.
Union is the team that they should be competing with, and they're losing.
Right.
Whereas they should be RPI. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, give me what you're saying.
Yeah, quickly, I don't think that 13 is their ceiling. Here's why. 5 of their next 8 games are against teams that are ranked in the USCHO poll. Now, granted, these teams may not be ranked at the time they play them, but as of today, Cornell is 17. Quinnipiac has them this weekend. Princeton, they have them twice. They're ranked 15. UMass, they have them twice. Right now, they're ranked 4th in the country. So if they steal a couple wins from those ranked teams, then they could move right up.
I have them splitting all of that 4-4.
Okay. All right, guys, I'm looking forward to the second half of this debate, but first, we're going to take a quick break. Coming up, we'll talk about the start of Quinnipiac basketball. Stay tuned.
Do you like debate? That's a converted relief pitcher making the start because it was a doubleheader. You got no hit by a relief pitcher. You can't tell me that's not embarrassing.
Analysis.
You can see his stance, his positioning right there is excellent.
And a side of entertainment.
Is he right or is he crazy?
Well, we all know the answer to that. He's a bit crazy, but I gotta say, you know.
Then join us on Bobcat Breakdown.
From the court to the ice to here on the diamond, we'll discuss everything you need to know about Quinnipiac athletics.
Bobcat Breakdown, Tuesdays at 9:30.
Welcome to the WQAQ Morning Show. Dan Ball and Emma Spagnolo joining you here from the QAQ studios in Hamden. And Emma, it is that time of year again.
Whether you're on the quad, in your room,
Or off campus.
tune in to Q30 News for stories from student journalists who you can trust.
We're covering the latest here on campus and in the surrounding communities.
Get the news you need to know every Wednesday night.
From Hamden to Hollywood, we are your source for entertainment news.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. I'm Joe LaGrippo alongside MJ Baird and Jonathan Banks. College basketball is upon us. We will start on the women's side of the court with a new segment called Shoot or Pass. I will state something relative to the team, and the guys will tell me either shoot it or pass it. MJ, their three-point woes will continue.
I think we're live.
I think we are too.
All right, I guess we'll just have to go with it. Joe, I think the first question you asked us, we're having a little technical difficulties, but I think it's pass or shoot for, what's the first one?
The first one is Quinnipiac basketball women's team's three-point woes will continue.
Three-point woes,
You
all right.
passing that or shooting that?
Give me that ball, please, Shane. Thank you very much for the pass, my man. Three-point woes continue. I'm going to pass this one.
So it's not going to happen?
Not going to happen. I think that this team, you know, they take a lot of threes every year. Last year, they led the league by, listen to this number, 357, more than any other team. So they're going to shoot a lot of threes. Yes, they lost their best three-point shooter in Carly Fabry to graduation, but I don't see these continuing. They're 2 games in. I mean, come on.
Let me get that, Patrick. Thank you. Will? I'm passing that too. I mean,
Okay.
Erin McClure, MAC preseason player of the year. It's a point of emphasis for her over the summer to get better at shooting the three ball. I mean, she hasn't shot one yet this season in 2 games. She's there, Jen Fay, 5th in the conference in three-point field goal percentage, and Taylor Hurd's going to get better too. I think she's had not the best start to the season shooting the three ball, but I think she gets better, so I'm passing that.
All right, next one up. Ball me, please. Will the lack of size hurt this team? This is the fastest pass I've ever made.
No, your first one was faster though.
Oh, okay, let me do it again.
Yeah, give that.
Bounce pass.
Oh, I like it.
I know you couldn't see that. No, it's not going to hurt them. I mean, the MAC's a small conference. They don't need it. They really don't need the size. They rely on their athleticism and their shooting to win games. And I really don't think they're going to lose a conference game. So, no, size ain't going to hurt.
Let me get this. Will, no look.
Oh, no
That's
look.
how ridiculous I think that question was. Because I'm going to tell you, they're playing Texas this weekend. Texas, I believe, is ranked number 8. Size could be a problem, but like you said, the MAC, they're going to win every game in the MAC. When they get to the NCAA tournament, that could be an issue, but no issues right now. I mean, it doesn't matter. They can. Erin McClure can get rebounds. I mean, they just have players that could do a Paula Stropman too. Not worried.
All right, ball me, Blazer.
You haven't taken a shot yet. What?
I haven't taken a
Pass first
shot.
point guard.
What?
You're a pass first point guard. Take a shot.
I am not any of those. But I'll work on my form here. Who's more important to the team, Erin McClure or Jen Fay? Or who's going to make more of an impact?
Right, more can impact.
I want to word it correctly.
So if it's McClure, you're going to shoot. Fay, you're going to pass.
All right. Not very good. See, the suit's a little tight.
That's the reason.
I think it's McClure. I really do. She is the MAC preseason player of the year for a reason, and I think she draws so much attention from other teams that it's no discredit to Jen Fay whatsoever. She's a fantastic player, but Erin McClure has more of an impact.
Let me get this, Kyle. So when I was thinking about it, like you can't see the bounce either, because I was thinking about going with Fay, so it's like a little hesitation.
Okay.
Not like the Markel Fultz free throw the other day, but I'm going to follow through and knock this one down. Love Markel Fultz, trust the process, but
Philly guy.
Yeah, huge Philly guy. But for me, Erin McClure, she's the 2-time MAC player of the year in the preseason for a reason. Jen Fay is a great player. But you know what you're going to get out of her. Erin McClure can take them to the next level in the NCAA tournament. So that's what I got.
All right. Joe, I think that's all us, not, basketball players, so we'll just send it back to you.
All right, guys, lots of nice ball movement and some points scored here. In a minute, we'll be right back to talk about some men's basketball. Be right back.
If you like debate,
That's a converted relief pitcher making the start because it was a doubleheader. You got no hit by a relief pitcher. You can't tell me that's not embarrassing.
analysis,
You can see his stance, his positioning right there is excellent.
and a side of entertainment.
Is he right or is he crazy?
Well, we all know the answer to that. He's a bit crazy, but I gotta say,
Then join us on Bobcat Breakdown.
From the court to the ice to here on the diamond, we'll discuss everything you need to know about Quinnipiac athletics.
Bobcat Breakdown, Tuesdays at 9:30.
Welcome to the WQAQ Morning Show. Dan Ball and Emma Spagnolo joining you here from the QAQ studios in Hamden. And Emma, it is that time of year again.
Whether you're on the quad in your room
Or off campus.
tune in to Q30 News for stories from student journalists you can trust.
We're covering the latest here on campus and in the surrounding communities.
Get the news you need to know every Wednesday night.
From Hamden to Hollywood, we are your source for entertainment news.
Welcome back. Now let's head over to the men's side of the court. They traveled to Villanova over the weekend and did not earn the outcome they were looking for, losing 86-53. A couple players got minutes off the bench who were looking to get more involved on the court. Jonathan, who will emerge as the sixth man for the Bobcats?
I'm going to go with my guy, Joe, Aaron Robinson. He's used to the role. He played 30 games last year, didn't start any. So, when I'm looking for a sixth man, I'm looking for a veteran leader, someone who's confident. Aaron oozes confidence, can shoot the three ball. Spark off the bench, he's confident, and he has great camaraderie with his teammates, so I think he's the option.
All right, so I'm going to, kind of go, obviously I'm going to go a different route, but kind of a different reason too.
Yeah.
So when you think of sixth man, it's kind of like first guy off the bench,
I was
right?
thinking guard for me personally.
Okay, first guy off the bench and probably someone who's borderline as good as his starter, but just for whatever reason better off the bench.
Yeah.
Now, I'm only looking at the starting lineup for the Villanova game because I'm not the coach. I don't know what the starting five is going to look like come MAC play. So when you look at the starting five from the Nova game, the person who wasn't in the starting lineup, who to me would be the sixth player, is Abdoulaye Boundieu.
Yep.
That being said, if you look at his stats, he has started 72 of the 93 games he's played this year.
Yeah, 23 last year.
Right. So I borderline expect him to be a starter, but going off of that, like I said, with the caveat that the starting lineup for the Villanova game did not include Boundieu, it seems like an easy choice to me.
Yeah, Kevin Marf was a talented player from George Washington. So I think he does need to, it's kind of like a freshman coming in. You got to learn your teammates a little more in actual game-like situations. I do think Boundieu will start a little bit, so toss up there.
For sure.
MJ, Rich Kelly was an important part of the squad last season. Unfortunately, he is down with a knee injury. How should head coach Baker Dunleavy divide the minutes among the point guards until Kelly returns?
Joe, I wish I knew the answer to this question. I sure don't know, and I don't even think Baker Dunleavy really knows. Right now, if you look at the roster with Kelly being injured and Savion Lewis taking an academic redshirt year, this team doesn't really even have a true point guard on the team. So then you start to raise questions. Okay, well, look back, like I said before, who was the starter in the Villanova game? It was Tyrese Williams, 23 minutes, 5 points, 2 of 7 from the field, including 1 3 and 2 free throws. So maybe he's the guy that gets the most of the minutes till Kelly comes back. Do you have Cam Young bring up the ball? He's such an athletic guard anyway. So I don't really know the answer to this question. I'm not even sure Dunleavy does either.
Yeah, MJ, I got the two things that you said. It was Williams' first collegiate game against a reigning national champion. So, I mean, give him the ball against the other team. See who does. Exactly. Cam Young can bring up the ball, too. He's athletic. He's explosive. He's your best player. And also, Aaron Robinson did bring up the ball in the second half. Maybe that's not the best part of his game, but he can, like I said, sixth man can do anything that the team needs. So if he needs to bring up the ball, he can bring up the ball.
Way to compliment your argument. That was good.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
The highest temperature over the weekend in Hampden is projected to be 47 degrees. The volleyball team will avoid all of that. They'll be chilling in Florida in 80 degrees. However, the real question is, Banks, how long will they enjoy the nice weather for?
It depends, because you're in Disney, you're in Florida. How long do you want to spend there if you want to go on a little vacation after?
Right?
Like, I don't know. The MAC tournament's 3 days. I think they're actually playing for 2.
Okay.
I think they beat Niagara. That's who they played. They beat them 3-0 the last game of the regular season. Then they'll play top seed at Iona because you reseed in the MAC tournament, so I just don't think they'll be able to beat the number 1 seed, who they lost 3-1 to both games.
Right. I think if I have the bracket here.
Yeah, you came prepared.
Yeah, I did, for sure.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Quinnipiac has the 7. I think they'll beat the 6 Niagara as well.
Right.
They're coming off that sweep. That's a big confidence builder. And I didn't talk to him, but I heard Chris Saplinski after the game. He seems to have a mindset that he can beat that team based on the hitting in the middle. They just seem to work around Niagara's schemes very well. So if Quinnipiac were to move on there, like we're both agreeing on, they wouldn't have number 1 Iona per se, but they'd have the next highest seed available, most likely to be Ryder, and Quinnipiac hasn't beat them in 2 matches this year. So I agree with you. I think the question was
so do you think the 6 would win? Because did they reseed? So Quinnipiac would be the lowest seed that wins.
Yeah, 7.
Right, so they play the 1.
No, the 1 and 2 have a bye, don't they? Or am I reading the bracket wrong? I'm sorry.
Wait, no, you got it.
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
Okay,
So Ryder, you're correct.
Right, they'd play the 3, they'd play the 3.
Yeah, they played Ryder.
Okay,
You're right.
So nonetheless, I don't think they would win, whether it was the 1 or the 3.
There you go.
So 2 days in Disney, but they'll probably spend the whole time, because why not?
Right, exactly.
The show is almost over, but still more time for debate. MJ, Jonathan, who are your Bobcats of the week? MJ, go first.
Yeah, I'll start first. I'm sticking right with volleyball. Kat Miller notches her 1,000th career kill this weekend in a game. I see her as easy pick for Bobcat of the week. I mean, that's a big accomplishment.
I'm going to argue. I'm going to go Jared Mazzola. I'm a big soccer guy, but I mean, a penalty kick in the second half extra time to save your season, comes up big, makes the save, then makes 3 more saves in the penalty shootout. I don't think he gets more Bobcat of the week than that, honestly. Didn't win the MAC championship, but confident player came on at the end of the season, and I mean, they're both great choices.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, individual accomplishment versus helping your team win a game. Normally, I think I'd lean towards the team. Right. And
in a much bigger game than Kat Miller played in.
For sure, 100%. To save 3 penalty kicks, I mean, I was never a soccer goalie, but it just looks hard.
It's ridiculous. It's a guessing game.
Thanksgiving is coming up in a little over a week. To get into the holiday spirit, we've tweaked our final roars into what we are most thankful for in Quinnipiac athletics. Jonathan, why don't you start us off?
Bobcat Nation as a whole should be thankful for Quinnipiac men's soccer head coach Eric DaCosta. DaCosta was a 4-year starter and 2-year captain in his playing career in Hampden. His personality makes him a manager that players love playing for. He sits back and lets players freely express themselves and feel out the match on their own, something I loved having in a coach when I played. His squad repays their faith in him too. The guys who might not play as much as they want to, are aware of their role and believe in the bigger picture, causing them to accept their status in the team, whether they agree with it or not. When players are substituted, they are greeted with a handshake and a hug from their head coach. Eric DaCosta has instilled a phenomenal culture in the soccer program that I believe will result in a MAC championship in the near future. Bobcat Nation, be thankful your soccer program is in good hands.
As Thanksgiving break approaches, there's a lot to be thankful for, but I think Bobcat Nation should be thankful for Quinnipiac's dedication to athletics. Athletic Director Greg Amodio said earlier this year on the QU Athletics podcast, quote, "The end game of the athletic department is directly tied to the institution's end game. I didn't think that we were ready to engage in the visionary aspect until the new president arrived," end quote. Clearly, athletics takes a priority with President Olean, just as it did with former university president John Leahy. Now take a step back and look at this progression. From the Northeast Conference to the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, and now one sport already has its foot in the door in the Big East. Look at next year alone. The 2019 Women's Hockey Frozen Four is being held right here on our campus. Next fall, the 2019 Big East Field Hockey Championships are right here in Hampden too. The growth of the athletic department in just the last decade is immense. And so is the success. With a men's hockey team that is back to being nationally ranked, a women's basketball team that is expected to bulldoze its conference without a hiccup, and a men's basketball team that has expectations higher than ever. This is your one and only warning. Don't go home for Thanksgiving and lose sight of what lay ahead this winter.
Freshmen are attracted to the college they think will help them get better in their field or interests. That's exactly why I'm here at Quinnipiac. Q30 has offered me the opportunity to do just that. From on-air to behind the scenes, I have bettered myself in every aspect of the journalism world. I now understand the hard work and preparation that goes on to produce a show for you, the viewer. That's why this Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for Q30 and the things they've showed me along the way. That's all the time we have for tonight on Bobcat Breakdown. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Q30 Sports and visit our website at q30tv.com. For Jonathan Banks, MJ Baird, I'm Joe LaGrippo. Have a good night and happy Thanksgiving.